bit sensitive. People shy away from it. Lots of people don't want to talk about it. But we have chosen to actually throw more light on it. It is something that lives with us. So we have to agree and throw more light on it so other people can know what this is all about. We're talking about addictions. Yes, there's so many addictions, different types of addictions. So many. To the extent I know that you and I have minor addictions. I don't know if there's anything that's minor, but they are addictions. And for me, I can say that people around me I know have phone addictions. We don't really pay attention to that, but people are actually addicted to their phones. But we're getting into addictions and all kinds of addictions. Today, I have four gentlemen in the studio with me, and we'll be talking to Walter, who is the manager of House of St. Francis Clinic and Rehabilitation Center, internationally certified addiction professional. Hi, Walter. All right, and we have Alan Menz as well, who's the resident counselor and house manager of Iris Place and Treatment Facility. Okay, so substance use disorder counselor. Yeah. You're welcome, Alan.
Thank you.
And I have Pastor Yoshi, who's the branch manager, Chosen Generation of Jesus Christ. Exactly. You're very welcome, Pastor Yoshi.
Thank you so much.
And finally, we have John Asogonde, who is an author for Unchanged, and he was also an entrepreneur. You're very welcome, John.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking about addictions. It's actually really broad. I know that. I know that addictions are very, very broad. So I'll start off with you, John. And as someone who has struggled with alcohol and drug addiction in the past, have you made it a point, at some point, to, you've actually made it a point to provide safe places for people?
Right.
Right. So through your book that you have written, how have you done this? Have you put everything in there? Can people just grab it and get everything that they need to know?
Yes, absolutely.
First of all, I'd want for you to talk about the book too.
Right. So I had my struggles with alcohol and drugs, as any young person may, experiment with and fall into addiction. And mine started way back in junior high school. I was just experimenting with alcohol. Okay. I didn't even like the taste, but unfortunately, I grew gradually into, becoming a daily user, and then started smoking as well when I was in school.
Was that the point of peer pressure?
Yes, definitely peer pressure played a major role in it, but I was also very curious and wanted to experiment for myself.
Right.
And I think a lot of people do that, but unfortunately, you could end up moving from that experimental stage to becoming a recreational use, and then to the abuse and even to addiction. And so that's how it happened for me, and I got addicted to the substances. But in 2018, I became clean by the grace of God.
That's nice.
And I've made it my mission since then to help other people who may be struggling with the same habits, because I know firsthand how dangerous it is and how severe it was for me. And so I published my first book in 2019. That was only focused on marijuana abuse. Okay. And then I taught at schools, spoke to students, inspired people. And so 6 years down the line, I published my second book, Unchained, which delves deeper into life after addiction, because sometimes you can get off the substance, but what do you do with your life beyond that? Okay. And luckily for me, I've been able to transform myself with the grace of God from then till now, starting businesses, having a new identity for myself. So I thought it was important to also put that message out that even after the addiction, your life can still become better.
Better. That's beautiful. I'm very proud of you. Very beautiful. Right. So before we move away to deeper questions, I would want for us to explain to our viewers. Any of you can answer this. What exactly is addiction? If we say addiction, what exactly? We know we have the dictionary, meaning to addiction. But if you can give more flesh to what addiction really is. Anyone can take this.
All right, so I'd like to have a take on this.
All right, sure.
So when we say addiction, we talk about words like continuous, repetitive, and these are the words that give flesh to the meaning of addiction. Now let me give viewers a scenario. If you have a four-legged table, and then you cut just a piece of one of the legs off, what happens? The table loses balance. If air blows, it's wobbling, or you place something on it, it can't stand. Now, that table is the person who is addicted to a behavior or a substance. And if you want that table to restore balance, you need to place a brick or something to compensate for the missing part of the leg of the table. And that thing that you use to compensate for the missing part of the leg of the table is the substance or the behavior the person is addicted to. So anytime that part of the table is not there, or that brick or compensation is not there, the table loses balance until it is there.
Being
so
fixed.
You do something so much so that it becomes a part of you. Now, sometimes people dress and they step out and they realize that something about them is not right or something is missing. They hit their pockets and realize they don't have their phones, and they go back to get their phones.
Good.
That's how addiction is like, if I'm explaining in the ordinary terms.
Okay, so let's say they start drinking alcohol, they haven't had it in a while, they realize, no, there's something missing, so they go back. So the more they go back, the more they're addicted they become. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to ask John one more time. So what's the hardest part of recovery for you?
The hardest part of recovery, well, first of all, the acceptance. Even being able to accept that you are addicted to a substance or to a behavior, I think is the hardest step anyone can take. Okay. Once you're able to accept it and recognize where you are, I think the journey becomes easy from there. But also, definitely, because of the psychoactive substance, it has effects on your mental well-being. So if you are getting off the substance, it can distort, your mental health, and also distorts the way you even function. And so the withdrawal symptoms are severe. You can have headaches, you can have paranoia, you can have so many withdrawal symptoms. Yeah,
I never knew.
That makes it difficult to get off the substance. Okay. So that part is there, but I think that's where the rehabs also come in to support you during that, that phase. But I think the most difficult part is the acceptance and recognizing where you are. Once you do that, then you can definitely come off.
Okay, so I go to Walter.
I think
you have something to say?
Yeah, I wanted to add something to what our dear brother here just said. He was talking about the withdrawal symptoms. We have the alcohol withdrawal.
Okay.
And then we have the substance, something like the cocaine and the heroin, the withdrawal aspect of it. But from my personal observation as being in the center, the manager, and I've seen these withdrawals so many times. When it comes to the alcohol withdrawal, we might see it to be like maybe the cocaine and the heroin seems to be more serious
than the
alcohol.
Right.
But what I've seen from my own experiences at the centers, I realized that most of the guys who are hooked up with alcohol, the alcoholics, their withdrawals, they go through what we call hallucinations.
Okay.
Hallucinations. When you are there and you see what is happening, it's undescribable. It's better you see it with your own eyes. Yeah. Alcohol withdrawals, hallucinations. They begin to hear voices.
See things. See things.
They become restless.
Wow.
They disturb the whole place.
So that's like a battle.
Yeah.
Warfront.
It has to. It takes us a lot of effort to restrain them. Yeah. But when it comes to the substance abuse, like the heroin and the cocaine, which we call normally in the ghettos, they refer to it as the rock and the tie.
No, come again. You have names for them.
Yeah.
So which one is the rock?
The rock is the cocaine.
Okay.
That has been cooked from the powdered form into a solid form.
Oh. So how is it used?
They have an instrument called the bonka. Yeah. It's like in a pipe form.
Okay.
And they put ash on it, and then they put the rock on it, and then they use a fire, a matchstick, or directly, and then they draw it, they inhale it, so and then it goes through the pipe.
Heating the rock.
Yeah, you hitting the rock on the pipe,
so then
and then you inhale it, and then the smoke comes straight into you, and then you have to absorb it and keep it still. You feel the high running through all over your body. And yes.
Yeah, man.
So when we come to the withdrawals with the cocaine and then the heroin, it's different from the alcohol. The alcohol is very serious, but the withdrawals for the the heroin and the cocaine is also very, very serious. That is what most of the time the guys, they can't withstand the pain. It's very, very painful. Very painful. So because of the pain, if God is not so good and then you don't restrain yourself, you will decide to leave. Or you will decide to even escape or go back to the ghetto. Wow. Because you'll be feeling very uncomfortable. You're feeling feverish, as if you've been hit by a car. You feel very, very congested. You don't have appetite to eat. You are running. You are visiting the washroom. It's like you are sweating. You are feeling cold. Very uncomfortable. Okay. You know, it's very, very painful. That is why most of them they can't withstand the pain, and then you see they will be running back to go to the ghetto.
Right. Now that's right. Sure.
So, with the withdrawals, we manage it with medical detoxification. Okay. Because, as you rightly explained, the withdrawal is very challenging, and a lot of clients give up. So with us, we do the medical detoxification, where you go through a medical process, and the drugs in your system is flushed out. Now, the medical detoxification does not arrest the entire withdrawals, but at least 80 to 85% is taken care of. So that is to manage your withdrawals, and then the rest of it, when you come out of detox, let's say about 4 or 5 days, we encourage you to do what we call water therapy. You take a cold shower every now and then. You can sip on hot tea. And to explain the withdrawals for you, I realized that the way you reacted is 10 times the symptoms of malaria.
I'm sorry?
10 times the symptoms of malaria. That is to describe withdrawals.
So you're feverish?
Yes, feverish, you have runny nose, teary eyes, restless, And then when they check in, when a client comes in after going through the withdrawals, one other aspect is insomnia. You develop sleeping, you can't sleep. And that is when we don't encourage with sedatives, but rather water therapy helps over a period of time.
How does that work, the water therapy?
Oh, you just take a cold shower and you don't use towel.
Okay, like we do the cold bath for children when they...
Yes, you do that.
Okay.
Even when it comes to that, the addicts even, they know this procedure. So when they come there, because we don't, after the detoxification, as my dear brother just said, you know, we don't administer any drugs to, you know, actually put you on the same high that has the same psychoactive in it, just like the ones you are using in the ghettos. So they know that when you keep on pouring water on you, to get to a time you feel very relief, and then you'll be back to your normal self again. So they know this process very well.
Okay, so let's go to Walter. You're now a certified addiction specialist manager, right? I would want you to walk us through your journey, because one time you were on the other side, and now you're clean, you're helping other people. I just want you to walk us through your journey.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity. For me, I always say I'm blessed because I've had the opportunity to taste both lives. Yes. So growing up, I grew up from a middle-class family, and my father was a soldier, my mother was a teacher. So we would all expect that the discipline at that level would be up there. You know, but at some point, my daddy wasn't around because he was always on a peacekeeping mission. My mom had also gone to get some degrees, you know, credentials for herself. So it was just myself and my sister were left at the care of neighbors and all that. But the truth is that my father was also an alcoholic, you know. So sometimes if my father didn't get alcohol to drink or couldn't go to the drinking bar, I would have to buy for him, you know. And like the gentleman over there said, out of curiosity, you know, I would also want to experiment, because at that age I was wondering what kind of magic potion could make a man so lovely, and because
and
he hadn't had anything to drink, you can't get closer to him. So that's how it all started for me, experimentation. Then I got to college and I started using the alcohol really,
because free will.
Yes, exactly, as an aperitif. Anytime I wanted to eat well, it was alcohol, and then marijuana came in along the line.
No, hang on.
And all that.
What were you using the alcohol for?
Say again?
As
an appetizer. As an
correct.
appetizer, you know, some fufu and some banku and all that, you know. So it was just for experimentation. But later, all the other drugs came in. There was cigarettes, there was marijuana, and what have you.
Okay.
So
let's take it slow.
Yes.
So you started off with alcohol.
Yes.
So what's the influence? What will actually make you move from one to the other, or still curiosity?
They're like siblings. Those drugs.
Well,
I mean,
so like they drag you in. One is dragging you in.
Where you go to buy alcohol, they sell cigarettes there. People are smoking cigarettes there, and so it's like they're always intertwined.
Okay.
Yes. So there is
but
this
there
domino.
should be something that's going to make you want to try that.
Exactly. So there is this domino effect with drugs. So that as a professional, I have treated people who have been on hard drugs like crack cocaine and heroin. And I know for all of us, nobody really started with crack cocaine and heroin.
Exactly.
Most of us started experimenting with cigarettes.
Oh, so it's like
alcohol,
you want to get a little higher.
Marijuana. You always want to get more.
Okay.
You always want to get more. And the kind of drugs that or experiments that are coming into the system is so scary. You know, there is fentanyl, there is what we call laughing gas.
Laughing gas.
Yes. And
there's one famous one that's...
And all these things.
There's one famous one. Even the name alone fascinates me, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Red.
Yes, yes.
I don't know why, but then anytime I see all the videos and I hear the Red at the back, I'm like, what's up?
Exactly, yes. So the issue with Red, just a little bit on it.
Okay.
The issue with Red is the same tramadol. You know, there was a hullabaloo about tramadol a few years back. It's the same thing in the different language. It's a different picture of the same thing. Red is tramadol. The 225.
So that's like a painkiller.
The milligrams is a painkiller.
It's a painkiller.
The milligrams. It's properly.
Like there are other videos you see where people are adding milk and stuff. What kind of combination is that?
Yes. So drug addicts are the best chemists you can find around. They are always mixing stuff to get the potency high.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So even when you talk about alcohol, some people brew alcohol with rusted nails and then dirty socks, rusted nails. Nails. Hammer and nail. Right.
No, I get.
Rusted
but
nails.
But how's that?
Detergents, dirty socks.
Okay, I've heard of the detergent.
The potency high.
High. But that with rusted nails, how is the combination? So are they chemists? How are they? So how? No, the question is not even coming out right. It's like, how would you know that the nail that you're holding is actually going to make you, or they try it?
Yes, so yes, we are experimenting everything. People are sniffing super glue.
Glue.
Anything that gets me high, I want to experiment it.
Right.
And get the potency high. And that's how it is like, you know.
Hey,
so
did you say socks?
Yes, dirty
so
socks.
So how do they use the socks?
Well, I can't go into the details. The details of that, but I know at some point people did a whole lot of things just to get the potency of drugs high, you know.
Nice.
There's a drug it's not popular in Ghana here, but elsewhere in the world, it's called crocodile. And it's a flesh-eating drug. You can check it out on the internet. It gets you so high, higher than anything you could think of. But in the end, it tears off your flesh. Sometimes your teeth is showing because your flesh is torn off from what the drug can do to you. But people are still using it. And that's what addiction looks like. That's the seriousness of the problem we have to deal with.
But then how easy do people actually get into contact with that? Probably you're young. Is it your economic status? Do you have to have some kind of money to be able to afford certain things? Or it's cheap on the market? You
know, the thing about drugs is that it's always available, especially if you're an addict. Well, when it gets to a very severe point, that's when you need to find money to do it. But as a beginner, people are always willing to give you drugs for free.
Right.
When I was smoking in school, like
everyone's got an extra stick.
Yeah, there's always an extra stick available for you. There's always an extra bottle available for you. And so I think that's part of, some of the awareness we need to bring out to deter the younger ones from coming into it.
Right.
Because there's a gateway. Once, like you said, nobody just goes into crack cocaine the first time. You start with cigarettes, innocently enough. You graduate from there into marijuana, into cocaine, into crack, and so on and so forth. So we have to, deal with the problem from the gateway before it gets to
get serious. Okay, let's go back to your journey.
Yes, so education-wise, I was able to go to school. I attended KNUST where I did my first degree. I read land economy. And then after first degree, I went to Legon to do my master's degree. And that is when I became a full-blown addict. you know, after I became a teaching assistant in the University of Ghana.
That's
and that
smart.
is when I had gotten to that level of addiction, dependency on the drug. And at that point, it's almost as if you are not alive without the drugs and the alcohol, right? So everything I had to do drugs before. If I wanted to appreciate sleep, food, sex, anything about life, I had to do drugs before I could feel alive.
Wow.
And that was when I realized I had to arrest the disease at some point, because by that time, all my friends, most of them had lost their lives. Some had gone to prison and all that. So I realized that it was getting to me. So it got to a point, I think my intellectual pride was a stumbling block. So it got to a point I had to just try anything anybody asked me to do.
Right, so now that's going to move me to my next question. You know, there's this misconception that all those who do drugs are actually on the streets. They're people who are probably homeless, they don't really have money. But this is you who've gone to uni, doing your master's, and you are hooked on drugs.
Exactly.
So that's truly that misconception, because I don't think that only people who are sleeping around, like those who are doing drugs, or those on the streets, let me put that.
Very good. So this is the message we need to send out there, that addiction is not a respecter of anybody.
Right.
It could be a minister, it could be anybody. I know the first professor in chemical engineering in Ghana, I had the opportunity to meet him, and he died from alcoholism.
Oh.
He was the first professor in chemical engineering in Ghana. And when he got into contact with our program, we have a literature we resort to called the Big Book. This professor would read our Big Book and say, this language, this sentence shouldn't have been put this way. He would be correcting the Big Book. But unfortunately, he died. Addiction is not a respecter of anybody. So when we mention addiction and your mind only goes to somebody who is wearing tattered clothes, is sleeping in a gutter, drinking and falling in gutters and all that, you have a misplaced thought of the whole thing.
Right.
So
then
people,
not entirely on the street.
Exactly.
People who are well put together.
We are still keeping things together. You know, I go to work on time. I still leave money on the table for my wife and kids and all that. So it is not a problem. It is a problem more than you think it is with somebody who's lying in the gutters or on the street. So that is the message I usually want to carry across when I get this opportunity. Wow. Right.
Wow. So from uni, were you able to go through the master's program?
Yes.
Were you able to go through it?
Yes. So
you were a TA?
Yes, exactly. So it was when I became a TA that all hell broke loose. Now it gets to a point when you wake up in the morning, that is even if you are able to sleep, when you wake up in the morning, all what you want to do is to get drugs into your system. Nothing else matters.
You don't think about food?
You don't think about nothing.
Really?
You would use your last dime to purchase drugs.
I mean, like you said, you need to do it to even feel alive. So
yes.
you can get
so
food
sometimes you are in the ghetto and you see somebody bringing food to exchange for drugs.
You're kidding.
Yes. So it's like maybe this person in the house, the mother knows, yes, if I give him money, he's going to smoke drugs. So I'm giving him food. He brings the food, trace the food and the bowl that the food is in. The bowl is nice, and then gets the drugs. That's how bad it is.
So the quantity of drugs, is it like, what's about if it's just one stick of cigarette?
Yes.
You're still trading Banco and Okro stew for one stick of cigarette.
Yes. But most of the time, at that level of desperation, we would be talking about crack cocaine and heroin. Most of the time. You know, so as for the cigarettes, it's usually a cool off. You know, it's after you have done the crack cocaine and the heroin, then you want to cool off with cigarettes. But cigarettes will usually not be the main drug.
Okay.
And it's not expensive.
So it's like sweets after meals.
Sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. All right, Alan. Let's take a little from you, like your story and up until now.
Well, I started early with, of course, cigarettes.
Okay.
And I quickly graduated to marijuana because I was curious, I was shy, peer pressure, of course. But after some time, I realized I had got hooked to the marijuana. I wake up from bed, and even before I could wash my daddy's car, I had to sneak out of home and smoke some marijuana before I could do anything.
Get high.
But then I was brought up by a strict disciplinarian. My father brought me up with a cane and the Bible. So I had to find a way of going around the way things ran in my home. So I think I used for about 9 years before my parents discovered that I was on drugs. 9 years. I used marijuana for 9 years before my parents realized
I'm sorry, you started at what age?
16.
16.
16. And then because I had reached a tolerance level, the marijuana, I wasn't getting the high that I want, the kind of euphoria. So we call it tolerance level. Then I started experimenting with crack cocaine, which I did for 10 years before I added heroin. You know, cocaine is a stimulant, so I was doing it just raw cocaine, crack cocaine for 10 years.
Okay, so the one that puts on the paper and then...
No, that one is the heroin. The one you chase is the heroin.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one is a depressant. That one brings down the high. Maybe this discussion will be for another time.
Okay.
So, and then heroin is very addictive. That's an opiate. After some time, I hit rock bottom. I had lost everything. I had no home. Then I realized that I had to change my life. Try as I did, I went to church, I went to see a psychiatrist. I walked in to see a psychiatrist at Ankerford.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself. So he even sent out the nurses to see if anybody came in with this young man. And he said throughout his practice, he has never met anybody like me. So I gave him my drug history. He said at that time, this was the year 99, 2000. Ghana, we had no rehab center as at then. So he kept me for some time and then let me go. I went for review, and in fact, the 2 days I left, I went back. I went back to use
You
it.
went back?
Yes, yes,
okay.
I relapsed.
But then I want to ask one question.
Sure.
Where do these young people actually get the drugs?
Where?
Where?
Oh, it's common on the street. If you want it, you get it.
Do they actually, are they being held by people to go to where these things are sold? Or they probably talk to someone who's already in it? Or they actually are with people who are already using these drugs?
You see, the moment you're an addict, when you see a fellow addict,
you know.
You know.
If you know, you know.
Yes, if you know. So if I travel to Takoradi or Cape Coast and I want crack to smoke, I go to the street. I can look at faces.
And then you know.
And believe you me, I'll pick up the right person to show me where it is sold.
This topic is quite interesting.
Yeah, so
I really want to get
I wanted to add something more to it.
Right. But before we get all the juice that I want, we'll go for a little break. Sure. But when we're back, we have 4 people who are fully recovered. Then we're going to get into a conversation on how the journey has been and everything that we need to know. We're still talking about addictions. Tonight, you're on Friends and Family Show, and we're getting all the information that we need. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensah.
From social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters, Lifeline is here to inspire, uplift, and guide you on your journey.
Where we give you support, where we hold your hand through the valley and through the thick and thins of life.
Join Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensah.
I welcome you especially to Lifeline.
Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on Channel 1 TV. Let's walk this path together, strengthen our faith, our families, and our lives. Lifeline, because every soul deserves a guiding light. Tune in to Lifeline on Channel 1 TV and let's grow together.
Looking for the latest buzz in Ghana's entertainment world? Welcome to Ghana Weekend, your ultimate destination for all things creativity and entertainment.
Stay in the loop with breaking news, exclusive interviews, and then insider stories from your favorite creatives and stars. From music, movies, fashion and art, lifestyle and culture, Ghana Weekend brings it all together. Get a daily dose of entertainment, discover new talents, and never miss out on the creativity that defines our vibrant culture.
Stay connected with us across all platforms. Follow us on Instagram with the handle Ghana Weekend, on X Ghana Weekend, on TikTok Ghana Weekend, at Ghana Weekend TV on YouTube for the latest in entertainment, travel, and everything Ghana. Don't miss out. Join the Ghana Weekend family today. Ghana Weekend, where entertainment meets creativity. Visit GhanaWeekend.com now.
We're making a cheque with grilled tilapia and aloko, fried plantain. Not kelewele, fried plantain. Aloko doesn't have all the same spices that kelewele has. He is a very interesting person, not just because of his heritage and what he carries in that regard, but because of his love for gastronomy. Hi, ça va?
Ça va et toi? Ça fait plaisir de te rencontrer.
Ah, aussi.
Ah bon.
Oui?
Okay.
Good.
When it comes to tilapia.
And this tilapia has already been cleaned, washed, it's prepped.
Yes,
right.
But I normally like to take off
the gills.
The gills,
okay.
Yes.
Is there a reason?
Ivorians normally don't eat their chicken tilapia with the gills.
With the gills. Okay. Thank
What's
you
cooking?
For the, oh Lord.
Somebody should respond. I'm asking, what's cooking?
Acheke is cooking.
That's why
it's always, you see, I have very courteous, very demure guests.
You see?
So they always respond to you. That's why you keep coming.
Yes, I can see Acheke, Aruku, and Acheke Napaya.
Charlie.
Wow. Charlie, please, when I arrive, don't waste time. Just
what?
Where we've got into, no time wasting.
What's Cooking is brought to you by Tasty Tom, Kivo Pepper, and Suzy Herbal Center. Curious about what's happening beyond your borders? Beyond Borders takes you there. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., join Caleb Kudo as he explores the stories that shape our world, connecting you with Ghanaians in other cultures and seeing the world through their eyes.
So we've learned one thing: you leave your shoes outside. Wow. Tuesday, you know, I won't go to Ghana dressed in a Lacoste. I would as director of operations.
From international politics to the human stories that define nations, Beyond Borders brings you a fresh perspective of Ghanaians around the world, one conversation at a time. Beyond Borders with Caleb Kuda airs Wednesdays at 7 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV.
All right, welcome back to the Friends and Family Show. My name is Noyo Kwote. We're coming to you live from our studios in Tesano, and we're live on Channel 1 TV. Very welcome if you just joined us. Tonight, we're talking about addictions. We've talked about all the things we need to know, but not entirely. So tonight with me, I have 3 people who are fully recovered, gone through addictions, and they're fully recovered. We're going to have a conversation with them. To my very left, I have Nancy. You're very welcome, Nancy. And then this favor, I have Prince Ellie. You're very welcome tonight. And we're talking about addictions. First of all, thank you very much for letting us come through, like allowing us to have you in the studio. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Okay, so we're going to start off with your addictions. Okay, let me start with you, Nancy.
Okay.
What was yours like? Can you run us through your journey? What you were addicted to, how you were doing it, when you finally decided to give it all up?
Oh, I addicted to drug. Rock and type, but Nigeria will call it crack.
Okay.
So that's why I'm addicted. Because the story that the time I was in Nigeria, one of my friends, he called me. He said, oh, I should come to Ghana to come and learn work, fashion and designing work. But the time I came to Ghana, not be the same work he asked me to come and do where I came here. But he allowed me to stay like maybe 1 week before everything. Okay, the 1 week on, we completed where I was sleeping. Where she wake me up, tell me say, oh, Nancy, I should wake up so that we can go to work. Why I tell her, say, which type of work where they go by this time? Because me, I'm not sure fashion and designing work now. Morning time, 6 o'clock to 5, we close and go and rest. They tell me say, oh, if I reach there, I will know. Where you give me short skirts, wig, everything. Where we go to outing. Before then, you have already booked man for me. As we reach there, where I say, my sister, I don't even understand this kind of work. But you have to tell me truth. Say, oh, see what I'm coming here to do. If I will agree, I will agree. If I say no,
you stop.
Well, why you tell me say, oh, I should invest, say it happened. Well, I say, okay, no problem. Why I follow I came there where we talk, do everything, where I go to the man. We slept, we finished everything. From there, I started doing the work. I be hustling, paying. After everything, I can feel hustle like maybe 10 million, 1,000 Ghana, 12 million. I'll pack everything and give it to my madam. So
without taking anything?
Without taking anything. He even asked me to pay him 1,000 Ghana 3. For my transport, everything, I should pay him 1,000 Ghana 3. Okay, after all that, I can feel hustle, do everything. I'll pack all the whole money and give it to him. Maybe after everything, maybe can feel give me like chop money like 10 CD, 6 CD. That 10 CD, it can feel be my chop money for maybe morning, afternoon, and evening time. So I was doing the thing. Once that I've been doing, one day I decided, because before everything, said, my mother even shaved my armpits, my hair, everything, my private part, everything. He tell me, say, oh, this one there, she will keep it up. In case of, if I run away, she will use it to do something to me, maybe juju or anything. She will make me, I will be mad. Well, I said, okay.
So did that scare you?
Oh, only thing what I say, the God I'm serving is alive. Well, I say, no problem. So if I go work, he'll be wishing me bad luck, everything. Say, oh, I will be pregnant, this. If he talk, I don't get any right to challenge him. After everything, maybe if he talk to me, maybe if I go outside, I will tell her, like, you go first me pregnant. Because you, they be my madam, you go first me pregnant. So don't do those things. I do when someone see me where he tell me, say, oh, you have to help me to pay the rest of the money. Well, I say, okay, which type of money? Where he tell me, say, oh, the amount will remain. You will help me and pay my madam. Well, I say, okay, ask me how much. I say, oh, my money remain 9 million to complete.
So did she give you the amount for you to pay her?
Yes.
Every time, or total?
So no, he give it me total.
Which was how much?
1,000 Ghana where it remain, so that I will complete it.
So that's like 10,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Where I pay. So after I started hustling on my own, going out with my friends, everything. From there, they showed me how to smoke cigarettes. When I started smoking cigarettes, everything. So one certain time I was at home, when one of my friends, she called me on phone, tell me, say, oh, Nancy, I should dress up. Say today that we are going out. Well, I said, okay, oh, no problem.
So this is another friend?
Yes.
Not the one who made you come to Ghana?
No, not that one. Okay. This one, another one.
Another one.
Well, he tell me, say, okay, I should come. So I don't know, before everything, they have already buy rock and put it down with bunker. Everything, they package it there and put it somewhere. So after everything, where we reach there, now guess house where we lodge, we go. Where they smoke, they are doing everywhere. Me, I ask, I say, my sister, what you people are smoking? They tell me, say, oh, this one there is crack. Say I should test. Say if I test it, I will like it.
But at that time, were you already smoking cigarettes?
Yes.
You already smoking?
That time, I've already started smoking cigarettes. Okay. Yes. So after everything, where they give me the thing, where I smoke it, where I cough, when my sister there, she gives me some serious slap. Where they tell me, say, Nancy, how come would I waste this? I don't know, say the amount where she used to bought this. If you use it there, she can use it to build mansion. Where I say, hey, where they tell me, say, okay, now that she will do another one for me. Even though the thing is very small. The thing is a very small thing. Where he fix it for me for bunker, everything, where I flash, he say, oh, I should bring in and bring out.
So that's how
the same thing
you were smoking there?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll come back to you. Tell me, it's quite interesting. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
You tell me the food story. Now let's get to a favor. Right. How long have you been in? How long have you been recovered, fully recovered?
I've been in full recovery for Getting to 8 months now.
Okay. And then, so what was your addiction?
I was still smoking rock and tie. Rock and tie. That is what I smoke.
Okay. And what about you, Prince?
Yeah. I'm 2 years old in recovery.
2 years old.
And I was hooked to crack cocaine, heroin, pills, and some other nasty drugs.
When you say nasty drugs?
I mean, Benylin, codeine.
Okay, so the
Raphinol,
number of them.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so how long were you in that?
All right, active addiction from weed to crack cocaine and heroin, 13, 14 years before I met recovery.
Okay. Right, so how's recovery been like?
Right, recovery, to me, it's meeting freedom. It's meeting liberation.
Was it difficult to accept before you get into recovery?
Oh, no, because I was looking for recovery before the Lord brought it my way.
Good.
Okay, because
you grabbed it.
Yeah, so because I hit the rock bottom.
Right.
And so I'd been praying within me that, God, you need to make a way out because I hate this life. So when it came, I just took hold of it and I took advantage.
So how's recovery been? It's been good? You like it?
It's a gift from God himself.
So you accept it?
Of course I.
Well, I see that you're trying to bring some kind of excitement. Don't hide it. Bring the excitement.
Oh, to me, recovery is everything to me.
It's everything.
All right? Because when I look back who I was, how enslaved I was to drugs and who I am now, I think this is freedom. This is what life should be.
Okay. So I have a few messages. I'd like for us to take these messages.
Yeah.
Coming from Hendrickson in Abilinkwe, it says, can a person actually tell that they have an addiction or are they oblivious to it? Can you tell?
Yes, of course, you should be able to tell. Okay, so social media addiction. This is your phone, okay?
Right.
All right, so a student in Wesley Girls in high school comes back home from vacation, and then even when they're cooking banku, and then she's doing the TikTok thing, all right? Even when you are in the bathroom, bathing, you'll see the social media thing. And then all of a sudden, the mother gets to know that, and she seizes the phone from her. You realize that if that girl is unable to stay without the phone for 5 minutes, you see her
looking for
nagging.
It. Right.
Mama, give my phone. That is addiction.
Good.
Okay, so you are getting hooked to your phone.
Nice. Okay. So I'll be back to talk to you about recovery. I'll be right back. Just give me a few minutes. Okay, so we're still doing this, talking about addictions, and I'm right back. Welcome you back here.
You're welcome. Welcome back.
Nice. So we've heard from the three of them, and it looks like it's a bit, interesting. But I'll take a few messages, then we can discuss what they're asking us, right? But don't forget that we're still live, and you can be part of the show because it's very, very interactive. Okay, so what happens if no one ever discovers your addiction and what you are going through? How will you even get help if nobody discovers? I think that at some point there's supposed to be a self-realization, right?
You see, addiction dwells in secrecy. The addict is the last person to know that everybody knows he or she is using. So the moment you realize that you have become addicted or you're an addict, you must reach out for help.
Nice.
The disease itself dwells in secrecy. So once you expose it, it is the beginning of a journey of recovery.
Okay, but will you get help?
Sure, there's help available. There's help available.
And also, addiction, you cannot hide addiction. Addiction cannot be hidden because as much as you try to hide it, it will get to a point that it will begin to show by itself. We have behavioral addiction and then like substance addiction. And then as Mr. Mens already said, You know, addiction dwells in secrecy.
Okay.
But when it comes to behavioral addiction, we are talking about some addiction like phones. You know, people are really addicted to phones. They can't live without phone. Everything is based on the phone. And then we have substance addictions, which is like alcoholism, the rock and tie, which we talk about, the tramol and all the other substances, the benylin and the co. You see, these are substances that when you use them, it deforms you. As you are drinking alcohol, to get to a certain stage that people will realize that it will begin to show on you.
And that's what they say
the
in
smell,
photo.
Yes, the smell, your lips, you begin to look very skinny, you know, because you can't eat and all of that. And then when it comes to the cocaine and the heroin, it gets to a point that you become very, very aggressive. You do anything to get money to satisfy or fuel your addiction.
So while I'm still with you, tell us about Chosen. It's a rehab organization.
Yes.
Talk to us about Chosen.
Okay, so Chosen is a Christian faith-based organization. It was a calling that the Lord put on our Papa Apostles' heart to, you know, come up with this organization to help people. And basically, besides we go to ghettos to rescue people who are actually hooked up with drugs and alcohol and all of that, both men and women. And then besides that, it's an orphanage center as well, because we have a lot of ghetto babies in the, you know, these addicts giving birth in the ghettos and all of that, and they can't take care of their children. So we go for them. They are all in the orphanage centers.
Okay, so you have an orphanage as well?
Yes.
Or you take them to other orphanages, or you have your own orphanage?
No, we have the Chosen. It's an orphanage and a rehabilitation center. Nice. So the orphanage is at Dakuman. And then we have so many other branches as well. And then we have the women facility too at Dome.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically we rescue people who are addicted to all kinds of substances, all kinds of drugs that is actually destroying their lives and messing them up completely. We bring them and then we take them through a lot of process.
But how do you find the people?
We do ghetto outreach.
Okay, so you go into the ghettos.
Yes.
But then are they willing to follow? Are they willing to come with you?
Yeah,
some of them actually looking forward for it.
A lot of them are really sick and tired of the life they are living. They are fed up with it because they know where they are heading towards, and they've seen a lot of their colleagues. They've died, some have been lynched, and some have been afflicted with all kinds of diseases that they are incurable, and then they die miserably. So they know where they are heading towards. So when we go there, they willingly follow us to the place. Some even come to our centers by themselves.
By themselves.
Yes. So basically, this is what we actually do at Chosen Rehab Center. So we carry them through the detoxification, and then we have pastors in the branches, we have counselors, we have therapists, and all of that, and then they go through all those processes as well.
Nice. Right, let me come to you, John. You have 2 books, and you've written about being out there, being clean. Tell us about it.
Yeah, actually I have the books here. So this was the first one, Breaking Up with Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane being marijuana. That's the streets.
Is that what's called on the streets?
Yeah, I mean, if
most
you know,
people
you know.
refer to it as Mary Jane. Okay.
And then, so that was the one that focused on my marijuana addiction. And then this is the recent one, Unchained. Embracing Purpose Beyond Addiction.
Okay.
I believe I found my purpose now, and I've been able to carve a life for myself beyond addiction. I also found Eden Bar, which is a non-alcoholic bar that I created to, you know, provide a space for young people.
Again.
It's a non-alcoholic bar. The first in West Africa, actually.
Okay.
And the idea was to, so, you know, back in the day when I was still using, I was working heavily in the entertainment scene and nightlife scene.
Okay.
I worked with a nightclub, you know, Sue worked with a record label. And so most of my experience came from entertainment and the nightlife. And so I wanted to provide a space for young people to know that they can still, because you can take out that nightlife feeling from a lot of young people. They still want to go out and socialize. And so why don't we have a space where they can still go, socialize, listen to the music without the pressure of alcohol and, you know, the related substances.
Okay.
So that's what Eden Bar, you know, stands for. Yeah.
So is it like, it's like a physical bar?
Yes, it's
okay, where's it located?
Tesano.
Tesano.
Yeah.
Nice. So what apart from the music and everything, do you have people come through? Do you talk about your books? Do you play games? everything?
So it runs like a traditional bar. We have karaoke nights, we have, also game nights, musical performances, cocktails, we're mixing cocktails. It's a full traditional bar, just without the alcohol. But we've also gone beyond to create a fantastic menu that is not just like soda or fruit juice, so you can still have the sophisticated taste of a traditional cocktail without compromising on alcohol.
Nice. Actually, but so do you have a lot of patronage?
We do.
You have a lot
check
of
us out
patronage.
on Instagram.
People do come to. At what time and what time are you open?
We are open usually from Wednesdays through to Sundays.
To Sunday.
Yeah.
So later in the evening, like late night.
5 p.m.-ish.
I mean, you can fix me something.
Most of your colleagues here, I think, have been there before.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm actually, this is the first time hearing it. So I passed by, you fix me something nice. Do you get to fix the drinks yourself?
I do. When I started, so it's a startup, right? And I'm an entrepreneur, so I had to do everything myself. I learned how to mix cocktails. I learned how to run a business.
What's your favorite cocktail?
Creme de la creme.
What's it made of?
So creme de la creme, we have a non-alcoholic version of Irish cream.
Okay.
And we mix the Irish cream with coffee and some other syrups to make what we call creme de la creme. And it's interesting.
It's bangs there.
Bangs.
It slaps.
Yeah.
All right. So, Alan, back to you. You're actually telling us your journey to recovery.
Yeah. So, basically, when I hit rock bottom, I had to tell my sister. We've been discussing my addiction every now and then. But this time around, I told her that I'm ready.
Okay.
And she said,
so you just
sure?
mentioned your sister. That means it affects your family members as well.
Yes, yeah.
And most of them are worried.
Yeah, worried. My dad passed on without seeing me, witnessing what I'm doing now. And that is one thing that I regret so much. But that is fine. I'm out there reaching out to thousands of people to also lead them on a recovery journey. So my journey of recovery started when I checked into treatment, and I was introduced to the 12-step program, which number one helped me to understand my problem and identify that I'm powerless when it comes to the use of drugs. There is nothing like control using. There's nothing like just taking something little or something small to get high. It should be total abstinence. But then I had gone through detoxification. Okay. So when I came back from the detoxification, I was experiencing insomnia. It took me 7 months before I had my normal sleeping pattern. And that is when I met Walter. He was the house manager there. And for me, we say the therapeutic value of an addict helping another is without parallel. Nothing can be compared to that. So I came to realize in the course of my journey of recovery that helping others to achieve recovery was the only way to sustain my personal recovery. So I had the opportunity to study addiction management. Nice. And then I had my internship at House of St. Francis. I taught at Accra Psychiatry Hospital. So it was whilst there. For me, it's a passion. I enjoy helping and leading others.
Because you've been
recovery.
through it.
It's because I've been through. Because if recovery is possible for me, I believe it's possible for anybody who wants it. Yeah.
So I want us to take one final message, then we can go away. It says, "Good evening, Noyo. How can family members or close friends support someone struggling with addiction without enabling their behavior? One of my siblings is struggling with addiction, and I'd like to know how we can help him."
Yeah, first of all, you have to seek for professional help.
Okay.
By talking to some of us, reaching out to some of us. And they will come in to help the person by engaging the person in talk therapy, assessment, help the person to be willing, as my pastor brother here did. Accepting who you are, it is the beginning of getting recovery.
Nice. Right. So, that would be it. Okay, one final one. I have a question for you guys. What are the early signs that someone might be struggling with addiction? What are the early signs?
All right, so let me also come in here. Okay, when we talk about addiction, as we already spoke about, we have different kinds of addictions. So basically when we are talking about substance abuse, which is the cocaine and the heroin, first of all, you realize that the person's behavior towards how he's, tolerant and all of that, he becomes very, very aggressive. Okay. And then he moves from that stage to a stage where he becomes, he's always looking for money. He's always asking for money. That wasn't how he was formerly. But now you realize that every minute, every time he gets money is not enough for him. He starts asking his relatives, asking friends, asking colleagues, start borrowing money. Then from there, you realize that he begins to sell his, his accessories, what we call his properties and all of that. And then from there, you realize that now his appearance begins to change. He looks more shabby because he doesn't really take care of himself. He doesn't bath, he doesn't wear, nice clothes as he normally does. So his appearance begins to change and all of that.
Okay, so thank you very much. Today has been very interesting. I've actually gotten more insights about the whole addiction thing. Although I'd want for us to, get, deeper into that, because there are other addictions apart from what we're speaking about. So the alcohol addiction, the drugs, like we mentioned, the phone addiction. The other things, I think the behavioral ones as well. Gambling and all of that. Yes. So when we have an answer, probably we'll do a part 2. Yes? Yes. Okay.
Because we really want to address this issue of the 225. I think they are making a big fuss out of it. Instead of us to fight against it, it looks like they are rather, accepting it in a certain way. And it's very,
just
very
running a campaign.
Something that is very destructive like that.
Maybe they are glamorizing it.
Yeah,
to use the right word.
Yes. It's really terrible.
All right. So we'll get into that really soon, but we just have a few minutes. So, and one for us to stand up. Probably, I think that's first off. There's always this one thing that's you do to people who are doing so much well. That's to give a hug. I just want to give you a hug for. So if you can just be honest, we can actually do a group hug. I mean, big hug. I'm big enough to have all of you in my chest, like a mommy, big mommy bear. All right.
Thank you.
We're squeezing Pastor Yoshi. He's petite. Anyway, thank you very much for coming through. Thank you so much. You're doing a great job. And thank you so much. All right. So this is how far we can go. Time can take us. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. We've been talking about addiction tonight, and it's been very interesting. It's a show for you to bring out all the emotions. We get happy when we have to. We get emotional when we have to. We get serious when we have to. It has been Friends and Family Show. My name is Noyo Kwote. I want to say a big thank you to all my guests, and to you in recovery. I say thumbs up. Thank you so much for, starting or deciding to do this for yourself, and then moving on to help other people. So we'll be back tomorrow, same time at 6 p.m. My name is Noyo Kwote, and thank you for being a part of the show. I know that you are doing great at home. My love to you always. Enjoy the rest of your evening.